Namaskaram, Namaste, the South Indian is here, and as promised, our focus shall continuously be on some aspect or the other from Telangana, considering the state is going to elections on 30th of November with results on 4th of December. So our focus is keenly on Telangana. What are the policies? What is the politics? And today we're going to speak about policies. Let me say it at the outset that some stories are really certain aspects of policies which can only better governance and administration of any government. Today it's a story like that. But there is an introduction, there is a background. Fortunately or unfortunately, it has got to do with people and therefore in a democracy with politics. The nearly 13% Muslim population in Telangana is a major vote bank and can easily swing the fortune of any political party. There is no doubt about that. There are around 40 constituencies in Telangana that are predominantly Muslim, and while around 7 are the bastions of the AIMIM, which is of course an alliance with the Bharat Rashtra Samiti or BRS, which was earlier known as TRS, the other 30 constituencies did vote for the combined and also for the leadership of K. Chandrasekhar Rao or KCR.
आज हमारे माइनॉरिटी बच्चे और बच्चियों के वास्ते 200 से ज्यादा स्कूल केसीआर साहब ने टिम्बरिस के जरिए चालू किए। 60,000 से ज्यादा बच्चा आज वहां पढ़ रहा है। एक एक बच्चे पे आज गवर्नमेंट हुकूमत 1,20,000 रुपया खर्च कर रही है। आप तमाम भाइयों से बहनों से मेरी गुजारिश है, आपको शादी मुबारक मिल रहा है, अच्छे से अच्छे तालीम मिल रहा है, और सबसे अहम बात, आज पूरे मुल्क में जो एक माहौल है, डर का माहौल, एक खौफ का जो माहौल है, आज वो तेलंगाना में नहीं है।
But in an atmosphere where elections are making headlines almost every day, we have lots of elections in 2023 that is also have to do with the assembly elections, and of course 2024 is too close for comfort. Let's not forget the win of the Congress in neighbouring Karnataka, and also that KCR is facing anti-incumbency this third time around, and it's only a natural phenomenon in any democracy that the Muslims may, and I'm using the word may, find themselves in a quandary when it comes to vote for either of the two parties. If one talks about Muslims outreach, then KCR has been credited with having introduced several schemes for minorities.
माइनॉरिटी डेवलपमेंट के लिए हमसे पहले 10 साल कांग्रेस सरकार था यहाँ पे, उन्होंने 10 साल में 950 करोड़ खर्च किया, लेकिन 10 साल में बीआरएस सरकार ने 12,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च किया। और किस प्रकार का रेजिडेंशियल स्कूल चल रहे, हमारे खवातीन, हमारे बच्चे, हमारे तुलबा किस प्रकार का इंग्लिश मीडियम पढ़ाई हासिल कर रहे हैं, ये आप लोग जानते हैं। इसीलिए मैं आप सभी लोगों से गुजारिश करता हूं, जब तक केसीआर जिंदा रहेगा तब तक तेलंगाना रियासत एक सेक्युलर रियासत बने रहेगा, और ये मैं आपको वायदा करता हूं, यहाँ कोई भी हमारा कुछ नहीं कर सकता। हमारा गंगा जमुना तहजीब बरकरार रहेगा, इसकी पूरी जिम्मेदारी मैं लेता हूं। अमन पसंद तेलंगाना रियासत भारत के लिए एक मिसाल बन गया है, आगे भी सभी मिलकर हम इसको आगे बढ़ा लेते हैं।
But this is election time, like I said right at the outset, and therefore only logical to question if those schemes for Muslims have reached their beneficiaries or remain as showpieces. According to AIMIM, Association for Socio-Economic Empowerment of the Marginalized, a Hyderabad-based grassroots advocacy organization, there is no doubt that the Telangana Minorities Welfare Department Shaadi Mubarak, the one-time financial assistance of more than ₹1,00,000 at the time of a wedding or marriage, and for iftar are the most popular schemes for minorities with funds which have adequately been utilized. But AIMIM has questioned if these are enough for the genuine upliftment of Muslims of Telangana. Let me also say that AIMIM is an advocacy organization. It only gives directions on how things can be for the betterment of any particular community. They are not political. Coming back to the story, have these schemes, or rather just by setting up a welfare board, help Muslims at the grassroots level? These are the questions which have come up according to the AIMIM report. Has the money allocated only gone towards Shaadi Mubarak and iftar, while for education and employment of Muslims, does it remain a major challenge still? AIMIM backs their theories with facts. with solid facts clustered over 2 years through the Right to Information Act, fieldwork and case studies. Not only does ASIM highlight how many schemes remain as non-starters, but there is complete lack of transparency in the functioning of the department, the underutilization of funds and also perhaps discrimination in terms of budget allocation. The study elucidates how the Telangana Minorities Welfare Department's budget allocation of 1973 crores for 2018-19 was the highest since 2014, followed by 1,724 in 2022-23. But the utilization rate was about 61% and of course 72% respectively. Is it the same story insofar as education, employment and other sectors are concerned, apropos the Muslim? Is it time when the minorities shall vote not en masse, but maybe shift their loyalties to a party which walks the talk insofar as their progress is concerned? Let me now welcome all the guests on the show. Ali Asgar, who is president and founder of ASIM, is joining us. SQ Masood, who is a social activist and secretary of ASIM, is also joining us. Sheikh Ahmed Ali, who is senior journalist, is also live with us. And Roydin Roach, political analyst, is also live with us right now. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, Mr. Ali Asgar. Considering it's a study, considering that it's research based, your organization ASIM, which talks about, what are the benefits which have been garnered by the minorities, would you like to elaborate a little about, you of course has lauded, Shaadi Mubarak as well as Iftar. I think both of them, in my opinion, are of course propelling the community. But what is the major lacunae that you see in so far as the schemes are concerned, apropos Muslims?
The main issue that we have come across is, I'm not going to get into different schemes or the implementation of the different schemes right now. But the main issue that we have come across is that in spite of the fact that this government has enhanced the budget of Minorities Welfare Department like no other government has ever done, the utilization rate remains low, primarily because of the poor delivery mechanisms. And when I say poor delivery mechanisms, I would like to quote that Muslims as a proportion of population in Telangana is about 14.57, which is not very different from the proportion of population of SCs, which is 17.48%. Whereas the Minority Welfare Department has about 236 employees, with 31% of them either temporary or on deputation. The SC Welfare Department has about 4,191 employees. So this is the major difference.
So do you think do you see that as discriminatory, Mr. Ali? Ali Asgar.
No, I'm not going to get into that political argument of whether it's discrimination or anything.
It's not political, but you are highlighting the difference. Let me ask Mr. Masood.
I'm highlighting the difference.
Yeah, I do respect your wishes and I do respect what you're saying, Mr. Ali Asgar. But considering that you've highlighted it, you've elucidated on the discrepancy, as it were. Therefore, I asked you that question. Mr. Masood, if I could have you on the screen, please. I want to ask you one question before I go to the second one and what Mr. Ali Asgar had highlighted right now. I want to ask you, Mr. Masood, that, if you look at Shaadi Mubarak and if you look at the other one, that is Iftar. Okay, let's look at Shaadi Mubarak. Let's compare it with what the Tamil Nadu government, that is the Dravid governments, are always done, is that they have always kind of kept aside funds for the wedding of girls. In the south, I don't know about the north, I am a South Indian, but in Tamil Nadu, for the Tali, the Mangal Sutra, special funds are given to those families where they can't get their children, their girl child married, etc. So when you say that, I was reading your report, you say that Shaadi Mubarak is laudable, but is it enough? Would you like to kind of explain that why do you think that, that alone does not suffice, Mr. Masood, for the benefit of our viewers, sir?
Thank you, Sudhaji. You see, for upliftment of a community, a specific community, you need a proper comprehensive plan for the whole overall development of the community. For that purpose, you need statistics, you need research, proper research, you need proper schemes and programs. So, with reference to the Muslim community in Telangana, if you can see a list of schemes which are implemented by the Minority Welfare Department, there are around 12 to 13 schemes. And the budgetary allocation, if you see the allocation and the expenditure, the most chunk of the budget allocation are utilized under two, three schemes. One is Shaadi Mubarak, another is TIMRIS, residential schools, and the reimbursement of tuition fees, that is the post-matric scholarship. So the question is long-term impact in the communities, in the upliftment of the community. You require to support the livelihood program. You require support by education, especially in the primary education. You are providing residential schools for the Muslim community, and you're providing residential schools for the SCs, STs, and BCs. But what about the other children who are not studying in the residential schools? So there is a demand since years by the civil society. The education should be the universal. Every child should be studied in government schools or the sponsored by the government by way of scholarship. So the vacuum, the gap is we have no plan for educating other children who are excluded from the residential category, and we have no proper plan for the socio-economic empowerment of the community. We have financial aid to ease the burden of parents in case of marriages of their daughter. But what about the livelihood opportunities? We don't have any kind of support for startups. Like if you can see, Telangana is an IT hub, but we don't have any share in this IT sector. So what about the overall development of the community?
All right. So, you very well said that overall development, you're focusing on education and you're focusing on jobs, I mean, which is, of course, very, very positive. But, Ali Asgar Saab started this conversation by saying that there is no doubt that the BRS government has done a lot in comparison with other governments. So let me get Sheikh Ahmed Ali, who is a senior journalist, into the conversation. Sheikh Ahmed Ali, welcome to the show. This report also says that for education, fund utilization, they say, has improved during the last 3 years, but students complain over government not reimbursing tuition fee. Also how the budget has been used. So, what would you like to say, Sheikh Ahmed Ali, about this, that yes, budget has been allocated, but where is it being used? Just to use it for Shaadi Mubarak and iftar does not suffice. The community requires overall upliftment.
One point to which I agree is like maybe there are some problem on the delivery mechanism, but the perception which is being built that nothing has been done on record, that perception is completely wrong, which I can say based on the figures, or the official figures which are available, which have been supplied by the government, and we can't dispute those figures because these are all, they were all submitted in the assembly, presented before the assembly. If I look at the number of beneficiaries for each scheme, like Shaadi Mubarak, we can say, okay, we have one-time beneficiary, but no, it is not one-time beneficiary. Like so far, about 2 lakh families, 1,95,825 families got this Shaadi Mubarak benefit. When we go into the history of how marriages are performed in Hyderabad, so earlier people used to depend on these Gulf jobs. The story used to be a person used to borrow some money for his sister's marriage and he used to return to Hyderabad only after clearing the debts of his daughter's marriage. So the marriage debts, they used to be very high, and now that has been eased, which I see if I look at that number. So about 2 lakh families. There are the population, Muslim population in Telangana is around 50 lakhs or it may be a little more. And if we divide that into families, we may have about 10 lakh families. So about out of the 10 lakh families, 2 lakh families are benefited. And if we look at this residential schools, 1,14,000 children, they are studying in those schools. So the education burden if earlier we used to have primary schools, now the education burden, children are getting quality education in those schools. There may be disputes. The quality of people may say that they don't have own buildings. Any scheme can be disputed, but we need to look at the numbers. And there are definitely complaints about delays in
Sheikh Ahmed Ali, this report only highlights certain gaps. It doesn't say that nothing has been done. That is what advocacy groups do, where these research based organizations, they highlight where the gaps are. There is a need gap and how it can be bettered. So, I mean, nothing has been, I mean, that's therefore I have journalists like you who can tell us that maybe this has been done, which is very good. But the thing is, this is a very crucial election. I'm sorry, but politics is, it runs in our DNA. We are a democracy because we have politics. And therefore, the thing is that these elections are very crucial for KCR Garu. If he does it, then it's a hat trick for him. And therefore, he has to look at it. Also, the image that he has built of being a secular chief minister, that has to be withheld. But if there are gaps, there are gaps. Roydin Roach, political analyst, I'll come back to you. Roydin Roach, very, very warm welcome to you, sir. The thing is that there are lots of schemes. We see that, he's talking, he also spoke about reservation 12%. He gave, 1 lakh to them. He says, there are bhavans which are specially created for you. Shaadi Mubarak, of course, is a flagship for him, everything. But do you think, in your reading as a political analyst, do you think there is a major gap between the way the schemes are announced and the way they get implemented? Yes, he has won elections. Yes, Muslims have voted for him in both the elections overwhelmingly. But this time around, like I said, it's a question mark because everyone has a choice.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening to my co-panelists here. See, when we are talking about the scheme and the welfare schemes that have been implemented by the government, the government announces schemes. It's very true that it's announced the scheme, they announced a very good schemes that have been announced by the government. But the problem is the implementation of it is very bad. Really, the fact is the implementation, even now for the 1 lakh scheme, the 1 lakh scheme was, I don't know on what basis they have done it. It's a complete flop of it. Because the thing is, the first thing, people, when the time it was announced, see, the day of announcement is the time that you're supposed to open the websites for the people who have to apply for the 1 lakh scheme. And the 1 lakh scheme which was given to them, the duration was very short and the websites were not open. There's something which went wrong there, that they have taken the previous data from the people who have applied earlier for other schemes. And they have implemented that in this, and they tried to do the 1 lakh scheme. But the 1 lakh scheme given also was not given to everyone. They gave it for a certain people, and after it stopped. The same thing happened with the Christian minority also. Christian minority is being given, and what happened? Not a single person got it. So the chief minister has the intention of giving it, but the implementation of the system is really bad. It doesn't work like that. So that's the main reason why there's a negative impact of the minorities at present on the BRS government. So the mechanism over there has to change. The mechanism has to change. Even the scholarships. If you look at it now, the scholarship is supposed to be, which was for the overseas, which was supposed to be opened out in the month of Jan, has just opened out now just before elections. And so you see the gap, what people are suffering with. The children going abroad, they are suffering with the overseas scholarship scheme also. The implementation, the department doesn't function the way it's supposed to function because there are no competent people to work in the department. There are just a handful of them over there who are working. And the department runs without a proper person to head it. Yeah, a person who doesn't have the capability, the potential to do it. So where is the implementation? You can even check even now, even presently also the scheme which are given, the 1 lakh rupee scheme is not yet completed.
Okay.
The same thing happens when the overseas scholarship. Why wasn't the overseas scholarship given time to time? You can check the history of the data. Whenever they're given, not in a single time, on time was given for the children. And even as my co-panelists mentioned about the implementation of students who are not in the residential schools, non-residential school children also have to get some benefit for the education. And especially when you look at the Muslim minority, they were the backward who are now coming up. It's good to see them coming up and growing. But when the implementation is not there, the system policy doesn't permit certain a part of it, it doesn't function. So whatever the government tries to do,
Right.
it doesn't reach the real deserving people. Even Shaadi Mubarak also is a process where the system has to change the way it's implemented. You know, after getting married, after this, after that, after having all the issues, after having all these things on the coming up, you then go and try to get your money. Where does it help somebody? You're still borrowing to cover it up over there. So when my friend talks about people going abroad and coming and getting the Shaadi Mubarak, it is not that what's happening really.
Right.
It's not the real fact.
I wanted you to kind of, I'll come back to you, Mr. Roach. Ali Asgar Saab, I wanted you to highlight about students who are, you know, studying abroad, the tuition fee, the lacuna there, for the benefit of our viewers, what really is promised and what really gets delivered, because it's going to help a whole lot of students community to understand where the gaps are.
No, I agree with the previous speaker. The problem basically is the delivery mechanism, inadequate delivery mechanism. For example, I'll give you an example of the bank link subsidy scheme.
Yeah.
Now, see, it's in our report that 1.5 lakh applications were received in 2015 and 16. 2015-16. They were taken up for consideration and for approval only in 2018-19. Guidelines were issued for the scheme in 2015, and from 2015 to 2020, the requirement for subsidy was 2,650.95 crores, whereas only 69.84 crores were released.
Right.
So these are the lacunae. This is the problem. It's not the problem. Intentions of the chief minister and the intention of the government is good. It's fine. But the delivery mechanisms need to be.
Yeah, but an award or a reward which is denied is no reward or award is how, and I understand it. It's the government's duty that if you announce a scheme, you see to it that it comes to fruition. You're not saying it, I'm saying it. That's my 2 bits. That's my humble submission. And I think in election time, these things need to be highlighted. Mr. Masood, somewhere do you feel that just by announcing schemes, for instance, KCR is known as welfare Raja, because, actually he is known, because I will not talk about Revdi and all that, because I don't believe that welfare schemes are Revdis like some people think. I think welfare is important. Subsidies are important for those who are marginalized for years and decades and centuries. So therefore, I have a different theory, but it's a different conversation. But Mr. Masood, do you think by what I'm understanding is, Mr. Masood, that just by announcing Shaadi Mubarak, just by announcing 1 lakh rupees, just by announcing that I want reservation to be 12%, it's pretty much like what was announced for Dalits. We'll have a Dalit chief minister, we will give land to 3 acres to landless. But uske baad koi awaaz bhi nahi aayi wahan se. Now, one has to understand what that community then does. It has no way to kind of go back and question someone except for those bureaucrats who are sitting there. So what is this? If there is no delivery, let's assume KCR has very good intentions, but if the delivery mechanism is faulty, someone should be questioning this, right?
Yes, I completely agree. Because आप अनाउंस कर देते हैं, you have a good intention, पर उसका implementation नहीं होता, it means कि लोगों तक पहुंचेगा नहीं. So just wanted to quote another program which was announced in 2018, that is non-statutory benefit for the minorities on for SC schemes. So there are around 8 schemes जिसमें बहुत important programs हैं जो I think KR government ने ही announce किया, इससे पहले कोई government ने उसको देखा नहीं. There is a provision for coaching centers for IELTS and GRE, GMAT, all the things. There is a provision to provide financial assistance to law graduates. There is a provision to establish 4 independent training centers, vocational training centers in 4 districts. There is a provision for minority welfare fund. Lekin till date, there is no guideline issued by the government. This is very sad. We are doing follow-up with the government. We have submitted several representations, but there is no response from the government. It shows the lack of interest.
So, right. So, Sheikh Ahmed Ali, considering you're a senior journalist, now I'm going to speak the language of journalists. The thing is that to vote for a particular party is sometimes it involves the TINA factor. The TINA is, there is no alternative factor. So, BRS is a known evil, Congress is surging forward, of course, according to recent reports and neighboring victory in Karnataka. BJP does not figure anywhere in the reckoning, in the pecking order, as it were. So, I want to ask you, I am going to read out something to you. BRS promised subplan in the budget for Muslims on the line of SC/ST subplans, an increase in reservation for Muslims from 4 to 12%. Construction of Islamic Cultural Center, Waqf Commissionerate on par with Hindu Endowment Commissionerate, launching a scheme to encourage entrepreneurship amongst minorities on the lines of SC/ST. But बात ये है, शेख अहमद अली साहब, none of these promises were kept. तो आप स्कीम अनाउंस करते जाइए, वो बदस्तूर जारी रहेगा, लेकिन होगा कुछ नहीं ग्राउंड लेवल पे. That seems to be the kind of a thing that has been adopted by successive governments, and I have to say BRS because they are in power.
देखिए, fortunately for BRS party और चीफ मिनिस्टर चंद्रशेखर राव, यहाँ पे उनका जो ओपोनेंट है वो कांग्रेस पार्टी है, और जो डिबेट हम यहाँ पे कर रहे हैं, and we are discussing so many things, different agencies are pointing out the gaps, but the Congress party itself has failed to capitalize on the, if we call it failures, the failures of BRS government. All the unkept promises, the Congress party has miserably failed to raise those issues. And if you have noticed in the last 9 years, there has not been a single agitation taken up by Congress party on any minority issue. Even in the present case, they have announced 6 guarantees, but it doesn't offer anything specific to minorities.
Sheikh Ahmed Sahab, I'm not holding a brief for Congress party. I'm a journalist, sir. For me, anyone who does not do, I'm going to highlight that. I'm asking you that if BRS and KCR Garu goes ahead and announces so many schemes, this report says Shaadi Mubarak, great, iftar, but all the other tuition, education, scholarship, everything, there has been a fault with the delivery system. Why announce schemes then, sir? Don't.
Not 100% fault, ma'am.
Ji.
There may be gaps, but the schemes, like if we look at numbers, there are still numbers of, the number of beneficiaries in this scheme is very high. You take the 2 BHK scheme, about nearly 5.5 lakh houses, 2 BHK houses are to be distributed. Maybe the government has distributed, say, about 1 lakh houses so far. But the government order, the reservation which was given in that quota, 2 BHK quota, 12% in urban areas and 7% in rural areas. On an average, if we take 10%, whenever that delivery is done, whenever that 5 lakh houses are distributed, then at least 50,000 poor Muslims will get those houses, and 50,000 for a population of 50 lakh in a state is a huge number.
Right. And
so
also,
delivery is, if it is zero implementation, okay, yes, there might be anti-incumbency anger, but yes, there are gaps. So I think it is both advantage and disadvantage for BRS party. It has to work on that non-implementation.
my problem is, my problem is, overall problem is that any minority, whether it is any minority, I shall not name all of them. But the point is, just to use them during elections as a vote bank and then completely discard them is absolutely against the principle of a vibrant democracy like ours. Every political party does it. I mean, if I do it, then someone does it brilliantly than me, and anyway wins elections. That seems to be the path. Here we are trying to see why is it that in Telangana, where you have a vibrant minority population and a chief minister, I mean, I must say, mashallah, speaks such great Urdu. I mean, where do you hear such? I am very happy, whereas anti-Hindi agitation is all over in Tamil Nadu. Here is a chief minister who can speak Hindi or Urdu in comparison. So, I am looking at a progressive man here, but the point is there are huge gaps, and this is a 14% population. Mr. Roach, I will highlight this also, the discrepancy. The Reddy community, sir, I'll just ask you, you can answer both questions, sir. The Reddy community, which constitutes apparently around 7% of the population, has secured impressive 39 tickets. Abhi, whatever 115 tickets that they announced, that is the Bharat Rashtra Samiti BRS, while the Muslim population, which is 14.46, has been allocated only 3 tickets. Someone please make me understand this logic. I know someone may say that I am stupid, because you know the Reddy community is extremely influential. Look at the Congress also, majority of it goes to the Reddy community. But then why have such, you know, plain double standards, Mr. Roach?
Well, see, look at the, that's what we also talk about as the minority, because I also come from a minority. Okay, I also, with your permission, if you can give me the permission, I also need to speak a couple of words about my community also.
Yes,
on
sir.
the same debate. The thing is, see, what we are facing here is, let it be even the minority, let it be the BC, let it be anything. The number of tickets allocated is not in proportionate with the population. There's no way it is being done, and none of the parties are doing it. BJP tried to do something, but we all know it's a sinking ship, so they are not bothered. They can do what they want, they can give what they want to try to materialize something for 2024, but not going to happen. But yes, all the political parties are the same. Let it be the Congress, let it be the BRS, let it be any other party also. They do not go as per the proportionate of the population. That is one thing. Now, with your permission, can I even speak of other minorities also? The thing is, what we are facing year over year is, we are facing a big issue, even with the Christian minorities.
Yes.
The Christian minority, there is no representation in the present government. It is zero. And I'll tell you something on actual numbers that we have, the Christian population is very high and more than the Muslim population also in the state of Telangana, which includes the Dalits, because people don't know, because people do not talk about Dalit Christians. And the Dalit Christians don't give their numbers because they are scared of it, because they lose all the benefits. So people should understand that. For example, can I show you a document, please, if it's okay?
Sure, go ahead.
This is a document which we are trying to give to the political parties. Recently, we had even a press meet also on the Christian community. I would like to thank Mr. Owaisi for being there, at least for the Muslims. But for the Christians, who's there? Nobody. We are such huge in number. You know, even the statistics what we have, this is the clear statistics of the populations what we have. And the number of people, we have our own data which we created. Okay, and when we try to get this in place, the political parties do not want to take us seriously. And this time I don't think it's going to happen in that way. We have asked even, like, for example, the Congress has given time and asked some of our people to go and give our representation over there, which was given to them. But the same thing we are trying to reach out to BRS, but BRS is not responding to us.
Yeah, but so Mr. Roach, I'm sorry to interject, but in the Congress party, let me tell you, I have done 3 stories and 3 exclusives where they do not give time even to their own people. Like Ponnala Lakshmaiah, 45 years in the Congress, he is a BC. He went to meet them, no appointment. He got an appointment after a lot of trying. So political parties are made of the same color. No one is better than the other. Yeah, go on, Mr. Roach.
No, I will not agree with you. I will not agree on that, because the reason why is the Congress party is invited. Let me tell you, they have invited us. Okay, they invited the community went and met them, they have given their thing. Whether they implement or not, that's a different thing. I am not talking about that. Yes, even I am talking about the Chief Minister also. The Chief Minister has good intentions of the Christian community. But where is the representation by him? We had one MLC which has been removed also. Once Rajeshwar finished his term, there is no representative of the Christian community.
All right, so let me ask you, Mr. Roach. Yeah, I want to ask you, sir, you know, that do you think the Muslims will, what is your reading? Will the Muslims vote overwhelmingly? Because AIMIM, those 7 bastions of the AIMIM, I don't want to go into that. But the rest, do you think that this time around, do you see them voting like they did in the past 2 occasions for Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao?
See, with regards to Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao and the party, I can't say anything much about him, because I know him very well. I know how generous he is, what is he and what he is not.
All right.
But the ground reality today is, because we have our own survey team, we also do surveys, we also go practically on the ground also. The Muslim community has taken the BRS in a different angle than what they done before. They are not going to go the way they went before. One more reason is the tag that is being given by the opposition that you vote for the BRS or vote for the BJP, they have won. So there are a lot of issues which came up in the middle. We all know that about certain scams, certain issues, and what happened, what not happened. So on that basis, the Muslims are taken back a bit, because when we check with many of the Muslim communities who meet us, we have our meetings, we have everything. They are not going to go the way it was.
But then he said no to UCC in no uncertain terms. He's always said that, you know, he stands for secularism, and then there are these schemes. But then, you know, maybe
the secularism schemes don't get implemented properly. Like
yeah,
you tell
that's
me,
what. That's what. Exactly. You hit the nail on it.
Has it been done? Hasn't been done? No.
Right.
The Christians also. I'll tell you one more thing, man. The Christians have only, out of the population we have, which is a huge population, because Dalits want to take it's huge. It's about almost 80 lakhs. Okay, that's the population of Christians which we have in Telangana.
I'm running out of time. I'm going to do a show on the Christians. Let me tell you, because I've read that report in which you've been quoted. Mr. Masood, I want to ask you before I let all of you go, what is the way out? Yes, there are problems. All the schemes have not got implemented. There are lots of gaps. Shaadi Mubarak, ace. Iftar, ace. बट उससे तो नहीं बात नहीं बनती ना. एजुकेशन की स्कीम्स, ट्यूशन फ़ी की स्कीम, ओवरसीज स्कॉलरशिप की स्कीम्स, इतने सारे जो स्कूल्स हैं उनकी स्कीम. तो आप ये बताइए कि व्हाट इज़ द वे आउट. कौन सी सरकार ने कभी माइनॉरिटीज़ के जो है तरफ एक ऑनेस्ट ओपिनियन करके उनकी अपलिफ्टमेंट के लिए काम किया है, बताइए.
कोई भी पार्टी ने नहीं किया है. कांग्रेस के टाइम का अगर आप बजट देखेंगे तो बिल्कुल 300 करोड़ के आसपास का बजट होता था, वो भी यूटिलाइज नहीं होता था. दिस इज अ फैक्ट कि कांग्रेस से ज़्यादा बेहतर अगर हम फिगर देखें तो बीआरएस ने किया है, लेकिन कंपेरेटिवली बीआरएस ने किया है. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ गैप विच नीड टू बी एड्रेस. द वे आउट इज कि हमको प्रेशर बनाना पड़ेगा पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज पे, और हम बीइंग एक्टिविस्ट और बीइंग असीम हम यही कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम स्टडी करें, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करें इश्यूज का, और गवर्नमेंट से रिप्रेजेंट करें, बात करें, इंगेज करें. दिस इज द ओनली वे. बट अगर हम सोचेंगे कि बीआर नहीं किया है और कांग्रेस इज द बेस्ट ऑप्शन, ये हमारी गलती रहेगी. तो हम कोशिश करेंगे हर पार्टी के साथ बात करने की.
जी, तो मसूद साहब, आपने कहा कि आप लोग प्रेशर बनाएंगे. अली असगर, हु इज प्रेसिडेंट एंड फाउंडर ऑफ असीम, थैंक यू वेरी मच. Mr. Masood, thanks are due to you, but before I thank the other two gentlemen, आप लोग pressure बनाइए. But the greatest victory of any democracy is to use your finger and vote for the party that you think is honest when it comes to implementing schemes for you, particularly for those who are marginalized and deprived. Sheikh Ahmed Ali, thanks very much for joining us on the show, and Mr. Roach, as always, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you indeed. It's the most magnificent sight. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. You can't miss it. And I know a lot of people up north think that the south does not have Dashera. You pronounce it as Dashera, na? We pronounce it as Dasara. The 10-day festival of Dasara in Karnataka is extremely special in all of South India. It is helmed by the erstwhile royal family of Mysore and is called Nadahabba. Habba in Kannada means a festival. The history of the festival in Karnataka dates back to 15th century and is attributed to the Vadiyars of Mysore, who began the tradition of celebrating Dasara with much pomp. After performing a special puja, most fabulous part of the celebration is the grand Dasara procession that is held on Vijayadashmi. The lavishly decorated elephants carry the idol of Chamundeshwari, the goddess Shakti, and meanders through the streets with much applause. According to legends, on this day, goddess Chamundeshwari killed Mahishasura, the demon king, and therefore the name Mysuru has been derived from exactly the slain demon's name. Mahishasura, therefore Mysuru. Even as Vijayadashmi focuses on goddess Chamundeshwari, it is a celebration of women's power in Karnataka. The woman is actually celebrated as Earth Mother, and it's something that the Kannadigas believe, and it synchronizes well with the harvest season that begins at this time, and the earth is invoked to start afresh the new harvest season and to reactivate the vigor and fertility of the soil by performing religious rituals, which is believed to invoke the cosmic forces. Look at those fantastic visuals of Dasara in Karnataka, of the Mysuru Dasara, which is actually splendid, scintillating sights. And of course, there you can see the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, waving to all the onlookers. Everybody takes part in the Dasara celebrations. Extremely special. And guess what? Only the South Indian brings you such a spectacle. This is the Dasara in Mysuru. Look at those on the streets. There is a lot of singing, dancing, of course. This Habba or festival, as it is called in Kannada, everyone joins in. You know, Mysuru actually lights up during Dasara, much like Bengal during Durga Puja. The same thing happens in Karnataka, where the royals were the first ones to start it, and they take goddess Chamundeshwari on a procession on royal elephants. Look at the splendor. That is the elephant which represents the procession, and there the procession of Gandhi, also the Vidhana Saudha and Dr. Ambedkar. It represents every little significant historical feat in the history of India, the Mysuru Dasara festival. Visuals on your screen right now of the elephants procession during Mysuru Dasara festival procession, started by the Vadiyars, or also pronounced as Vodiyars, the erstwhile royal family of Mysuru.
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಪೂಜೆ ಆರಂಭ ಆಗೋದು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 7:15 ಇನ್ನು 2 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷ ಪೂಜೆ ಪುನಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಅರಮನೆಯ ದುರ್ಗಾಷ್ಟಮಿ ಆಚರಣೆ ಚಂಡಿ ಹೋಮ.
No political party today can ignore this. There you see the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, his first Dasara celebration as Chief Minister of a newly minted government in Karnataka, waving out, because Dasara, like I said, is splendid, is fantastic when it comes to whole of Karnataka, but particularly in Mysuru. And there you had it, wonderful Dasara celebration. So you have one political story and a celebration. That's what life is all about. After all, politics is also a celebration on this show called the South Indian. The South Indian now says, Vanakkam, Namaskara.